Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Jamaica Roots TV. Hope you're all doing well today. So we're going to be looking at the dog bite situation with Minister Marion Hall. She did come out Wednesday with some more information regarding this, and we're going to look at it. And we're also going to look at the old Dog Bite Act and what was done, like the amendments that were done. So, as a dog owner or property owner, you're going to be responsible if there's any injuries, if anyone was maimed, if death occurs, damages, disease, all of that is covered in the Dog Bite Liabilities Act. So whether you're present or not, as long as you own the property and you're the owner of the dogs, then you'd be fully responsible. So Minister Marion Hall delivered a wide-ranging sermon dubbed My Truth on YouTube Wednesday morning, addressing several issues, including that of a St. Anne property being advertised for sale to compensate a lady, which is Miss Dorothy Wilson, bitten by the entertainer's dog in 2009. Minister Hall said it wasn't me, explaining that the woman who was bitten by the dog was hired as a helper for a day's work by her sister and not her. Let's pause for a moment. It doesn't matter if the lady Miss Dorothy Wilson was hired by her sister or not. She's the owner of the property. Even if she was not present, there's a certain amount of liability that would be placed at her feet as the owner of the property and the owner of the dogs, right? If you were here with me, you would know that the price of the house was $75 million. You would know that I don't care zero about it. Once it sells, you'll see how I share up the money. That's how I am. I just want a church. That's what Minister Marion Hall was saying. So I guess she listed the home for $75 million. But remember, the judge said must not be sold for less than $60 million. Maybe the Star or whatever paper reported that the home was up for $60 million. So she's just correcting that. So she herself is even saying that the home was listed for $75 million, but it did not sell. Nothing happened. So, I mean, as a homeowner, you can put whatever price you want on a home. That doesn't mean that it will be sold for that amount, right? So they may have to revisit the sale price or the list price and reduce it so that you have some more offers on the home. So last week it was widely reported in the media that Minister Hall St. Anne property was being sold for $60 million to recover $3 million in damages for Dorothy Wilson, who was bitten by her dogs back in 2009. Miss Hall revealed that her sister had hired Miss Dorothy Wilson as a day worker. On Wednesday, she also said the figure they want her to pay is actually $6 million, and that she signed off on them selling the house for $75 million. So it's way above that amount. It's not $3 million. She said too that the dogs were chained while the woman worked, so Miss Dorothy Wilson. However, after completing her job, so she finished working, she went outside in the yard to retrieve an item. The dogs were released, so someone released these dogs, and the lady has not yet left the property. She was bitten more than 20 times. It's very hard for me to look at this. Yes. All said she was overseas at the time. All of that is not relevant. In 2012, the helper, Miss Dorothy Wilson, was awarded $1.5 million with interest by Justice Leighton Pusey during an assessment of the damages. Because remember, it's psychological damage. It's been reported that a piece of the lady's flesh was ripped out by the dogs and all of that, right? Scary situation. Medical expenses, her lack of employment, so she lost earnings. All of that will be calculated by the court, and then they will come up, like a lawyer will be doing calculations, and then the judges will be looking over it and all of that. So I guess that's how they came up with the 6 million, and plus interest is added on that, right? So that's why they came up with this amount. So recently, the Supreme Court ordered that the St. Anne property be sold to settle the judgment. It is still on the market. According to Wilson's witness statement submitted to the court as part of her lawsuit, she was attacked on September 29th, 2009, after completing a day's work at Chancery Hall's St. Andrew residence. So this was a residence that was in St. Andrew, but the one in St. Anne is being sold to compensate Miss Wilson. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff written here that the dogs pounced on her, ripping off a chunk of her flesh and all of that. It's not a good situation, right? And she spent 5 weeks in the West Indies, University of the West Indies Hospital. Okay, so that was pretty brutal. She was in the hospital for 5 weeks. So I'm sure Miss Hall will do the right thing and make sure that this lady is taken care of, because you can see that this lady suffered a lot. Okay, so we're just going to look at the timeline. So in 2009, Miss Wilson, on September 29th, entered the property in St. Andrew, owned by Minister Marion Hall, to do day's work for her sister. And she was attacked and injured really badly, and she spent 5 weeks in the university hospital, right? And then 6 months after, she went and she filed a lawsuit. This is in March of 2010, right? And an assessment came. So 5 years. 5 years from the time she filed the lawsuit seeking damages for her injuries and all of that. In 2015, an assessment was done, October 2015, and she was awarded X amount. According to Miss Hall, it was 6 million, maybe 3 million plus interest. We're hearing so many different figures, but the final thing is 6 million. So 2015, fast forward to 2020, they had to go back to court. So the lawyers went back to court in June of 2020. Okay, there was a hearing again, because of course there's no money paid. For the attorneys representing the parties, ordered that the property in St. Anne, which is in Upton, right? Upton area, Bonham Spring, to be sold to settle the judgment debt. Okay, so Archer and Cummings, that is a law firm that is handling the carriage of sales. So they're handling everything. They're going to be handling the sale and all of that, and also transferring the property, I guess, into the new owner's name. But they're the one who is handling the carriage. Okay, carriage of the property. So I guess, everything would be in their hands until the final end, right? Okay, so that I'm sure they will have when the house is sold, everything will be settled, and this lady can be compensated because she has waited far too long, right? So let's go back almost 150 years. We're going to rewind a little bit. So we're going to look at the Dog Liability for Injuries Act that was passed on March 28, 1877. So this was about maybe 35-40 years after slavery was abolished. And this is in the height of the colonial era. So, the British people were in charge, right, when this act was passed. So this act concerns liability for damage caused by dogs kept on premises to persons or any cattle or sheep. The act defines a rule regarding ownership control of dogs' relevant liability. So it was very basic, and it was not addressing, a lot of issues that we're faced with right now in modern times. And of course, the last time the fine was amended was maybe many years ago, and we had like $1,000 for injuries, so that had to be updated. And they did not address the criminal liability piece was never addressed in this act. And now the one that was passed in November 2020, that was enacted in that bill. So you can be also criminally liable as well for owning dogs, right? It's a big responsibility. I can tell you that a lot of people are bitten by dogs, especially when they go to work in other people's homes, and it never gets reported, and they suffer and they're never compensated. A lot of people go up into the affluent areas, the poorer class, they go to work, and sometimes they may not have been advised that there are dogs on the premises or in the house, or the dogs are not properly secured, or for whatever reason, but they were open to being physically attacked by the dogs or other pets, right? So they will make several trips or requests and nothing gets done. And that's how it is, because I've known of quite a bit of persons who were bitten by dogs and they were never compensated. So I'm sure that Minister Hall will make sure that this lady is compensated once the home is sold. It's very hard for Miss Wilson. There's no words to say, because when you're attacked that way, this is something, it has a psychological effect on you, because you can close your eyes 15, 20 years after and you're still seeing these dogs attacking you. So whatever she gets, the damage that was caused is just, it doesn't have a monetary figure, to be honest, right? So we're hoping that this lady gets healing and she's able to be counseled. I'm sure that she was counseled, because that's something that you will never get over, right? Because the physical injuries there as a reminder every day, plus also the psychological aspect of it as well, because it replays in your head. So, we're just hoping for the best and hope that this situation gets taken care of as soon as possible. We're going to look at how they define a dog owner, because there's a lot of inaccuracies. People are not sure who a dog owner is. So let's look at who is a dog owner. So under the legislation, a dog owner is defined as a person who occupies premises where a dog is kept, has custody and care of the dog when the injury occurred, or who caused the dog to be in the public place where the injury occurred. So you don't have to be there. If it's your dog, you're the owner of the dog. If the dog hurts someone, then you can be held liable, and they don't need to see any proof that you purchased this dog or anything like that, because people may use that to wiggle out of responsibility. So what they're saying is that as long as the dog is under your care and custody, then the dog is yours. You can be held liable. And under the legislation, a dog owner, as I said, is defined as a person who occupies the premises where the dog is kept, right? And has custody and control of the dog. So that's all that needs to be in place for you to be held liable. Yeah, so it's a lot of responsibility, I guess, to own a dog. Just to wrap up, the legislation provides for criminal and civil liability for an owner of a dog that attacks, injures, and or causes the death of a person. It also provides for civil liability in respect of injury caused by a dog, and criminal liability where an individual is attacked by a dog along with the appropriate penalties. So the bill proposes $500,000 to $3 million, or imprisonment for 6 months to 15 years as criminal penalties. So those things are in place. As I mentioned, it's a lot of responsibility to own a dog. So once the home is sold, I'm sure Miss Wilson will be compensated, and then Minister Marion Hall is able to move on and get her church as well and help as many persons as she would like to help. So we're going to end this video here. Thanks for joining, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button if you like the content, and take care of yourself and others. Bye for now. Thanks for watching Jamaica Roots TV, guys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Our channel is new on YouTube and we need your support. See you on our next video.